have arrived at episode 70. This will be broken into a part 1 and a part 2. The guest this week, Erica Despain from All Things Madison. That should be a very familiar name, whether you know the name Erica Despain or you know All Things Madison. She has a really cool business and a really cool concept that's just over 3 years in the making. We're going to talk about so many things. How she got started? Who was that first customer that really gave her her big break? How she has evolved the business, her attention to quality, her where she's at kind of now, where she has hired a COO, a chief operating officer, who that person is, and that we have a good discussion about the interview process in that, in a very objective way of what she was looking for. We, if you're familiar with the podcast and you've checked out other episodes, we do a picture pack. That's essentially where I take photos that the guest has posted to Instagram or Facebook, that type of thing, and seek commentary. So I picked out some good ones, and we have some really good discussion around those pictures. And then we end the episode, this part 1 of this episode, on kind of a serious tone where her little daughter almost drowned in a swimming pool. And so we talk about that experience, and most importantly out of that, which fortunately was not a tragedy, is basically her and her husband Jamie's reaction to that, as far as making sure, being very thankful that Jamie was CPR trained to save their daughter's life, and then also now real advocates for infant swim and rescue, ISR. Be on the lookout for part 2 of the episode, which will release later in the week, where we get much more into the personal side of Erica's upbringing, being a native of Madison, attending Bob Jones High School, and many great stories as far as meeting her husband, starting her family, etc. Continue to like, subscribe, spread the word. We appreciate you tuning in and enjoy today's episode. Now, so let's jump to All Things Madison.
Okay.
So about 2.5 years ago, was all right, is kind of when it started, like right after COVID, like
May of 20.
May of 20. So
right when COVID started.
Oh, it's 3 years.
Right when COVID started.
Okay. So you, I think you described that you started getting emails from people asking, hey, I'm moving to Huntsville, or I'm moving to Madison, right? Because you were a blogger.
I was a blogger.
And they knew you from that.
Right.
And they're now just asking your opinion.
Right.
And so then you have this idea, well, wait a minute, I could turn this into a business.
Yeah.
By essentially providing a different way for companies to market or advertise their products or services.
Right.
Through having somebody like you become an expert, if you will, have their own following.
Sure. People
respect what time and attention you put into this, right?
You've got it down.
That type of thing.
Look at you. Yeah.
And so, but that's hard though for business owners.
Yeah.
And so the first break, I believe, was Tom Brown's. So tell us that story.
Yeah. I announced that I was starting All Things Madison a week before the pandemic hit. And I was like, uh-oh, I guess I better do this. Like I already told everyone. And so I started the website May 1st, but before I even launched the website, I had reached out to so many businesses. Can I write a story? Can I write a story? I even had a professional photographer who would come in and do photography for free. And I not only would not hear no, but I wouldn't hear back at all. Because they're like, we're struggling to stay alive as a business. And this random little girl wants to come write a cute little story on her website. And Tom Brown said yes. It took him about 3 weeks to write me back, but they said yes. Can you come in tomorrow? And I walk in there. I don't have any business clothes. I haven't worked a real job in 10 years. And I met with Tom and Ashley Brown. And we sat down, and Tom, have you met Tom Brown?
Not yet.
He is I love him so much. But he was kind of like, who's this girl? What's she doing? Let's just sit at this cocktail table and answer her questions real quick. But I asked good questions. And I think I could see they were impressed because I really cared about what they were doing. I went home and immediately I knew I had a great story. And it was such a pretty restaurant. And I worked so hard on that story. And I remember looking at my Google Analytics within minutes of posting it, and I had 180 people on the website at one time.
Yeah.
And I am having a absolute come apart. I don't even know how many times that story was read in the first 48 hours, but it put my writing on the map, and because it was okay writing because I really tried, but it also showcased what I was doing, which was, I'm going to tell you about new businesses, or not new businesses. This new girl is here to tell you things. So people started watching. And then Champies was another one right away.
So real quick on Tom Brown's.
Yeah.
Were they apprehensive? So I guess it's one thing, because obviously you're going to make money, and you're going to go to someone and say, hey, I'm going to give you this offering, and it's cool and it's unique. And I'm trying to do the same thing.
Sure.
Right. As far as what you would normally, how you would advertise and you would market. Were you going right away and saying, hey, in exchange for this article and exposure I'm going to give you, then it's this amount of money.
Right.
It wasn't just, I'm going to do a story, because anybody would probably welcome, oh, you just want to do a story? Yeah, come on by.
Actually, it was just free. It was just a story.
Really?
My dad encouraged me to create a business plan from the beginning. And that's why I have a lot of like things in my head that I like love. People like you like give me opportunity to share. But I went into this with a business plan. COVID messed that up, but I never went into it knowing from the get-go I would make money.
Sure.
I knew I would just have to prove myself. What I didn't realize was that it would be so hard to give people to let me write free content, because in hindsight, I realized that was their time. That time is so precious.
So for them, it was just the time to spend with you that they normally were going to spend doing other things because they're stressed out to the max.
It's another interview.
Got it.
You know, and people were struggling. You know, their doors were shutting. It was so hard at that time.
Or they're looking at it also as, okay, so what? Like, they're a pessimistic view.
Bingo.
This reader, no one's reading that paper.
Exactly
no one's watching that channel.
And they were valid.
Okay.
They didn't know. And it was obviously much smaller than it is now.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is that Tom Brown's article has now been read tens of thousands of times because of SEO.
SEO.
And so, it was.
Meaning people are going to keep stumbling upon it.
They're going to keep stumbling upon it.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't start making any money for a year, because I just used that time to honestly work full time for free, trying to build a really honest credibility, because I had a long-term vision. I knew that the sacrifices of a few years would be really small in the grand scheme. So
what was as your business matures,
yes,
and even if you weren't making any money, you're maturing the idea, the concept, your approach might change from customer to customer. When did you feel like, whether there was money involved or not, that you were hitting that stride? Or did you just come guns blazing out of the gate, and that was the standard with Tom Brown that you had already set?
Yeah, no. It was summer of 21.
So a year later, I just started having people reach out wanting to figure out what's going on. Now you've got people side-eyeing it. People like Joey Cece, the president of Breland, sends me an email out of nowhere, just signs it Joey, saying, hey, somebody said I should reach out to you. I don't know what you do, but let's get together. I'm sitting here, writing all this stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I said, hey, just for semantics, like, what's your title with Breland? He's like, oh, I don't know. I guess they call me president. I was like, keep it cool. Keep it cool. Like, I had no idea I was with the president of Breland, who is building the best communities in Madison. Yeah.
And what I know now is Joey's the best. He is just this hardworking dude creating these incredible companies. School board members, city council members, people who are emailing me wanting to get together and learn more because they're like, oh, shoot, this chick isn't going away. And I realized, you know what? People are watching. Let me make sure that every single thing I do is a resume builder and is my best foot forward as I continue to prove myself. And honestly, the marketing was working for these businesses. I actually I don't really pitch any businesses. 99% of what you see on the website is people that come to me because they've heard it's been effective for someone else, which is like the joy of my life because I want it to be effective.
So you have let's talk about the progression, the rollout.
Yeah.
So you do a story on Tom Brown's.
Yeah.
And at some point you add a weekly newsletter. And at some point
started the newsletter.
Okay. So that came right away.
Week 1.
What's the next, if you can remember, I mean, it hasn't been too many years.
Yeah.
But what's kind of the next thing? You're like, okay, I need to do this. And then, I should do this. Does that make sense? Can you like step through some of the progression?
Honestly, it was doing more of the same, just doing it better. Making sure the pictures were better, making sure the captions were longer, making sure the newsletter was more professional. I started looking at everything I was doing and how people were interacting to learn. I can think it's great, but if they don't think it's great or they're not engaging or interacting with it, then it may not be. So I really tried to look at that as making sure that everything, and even to this day, I never get too comfortable. I'm constantly looking at how to serve people better and then tweaking what I have. But I would say the next big thing didn't come until spring of 22 when I started a merchandise line, which I now that's not anything I want to do anymore of. I've learned such great lessons from it. I love my annual t-shirts, but I have no desire to have that be a major arm of my business. But Explore Madison has really been the next huge thing.
Is that just because you buy a bunch of stuff and you end up having too much inventory on hand type thing?
You just really don't make any money from it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it right, if you make it easy for people with your Shopify account, the fees they take, the taxes that we now have to file every single month in sales tax, the fees to ship and the bags you ship them in. So you can make $1 an item, even if you sell out of every single thing. Yeah. Sometimes it's worth it because there's other reasons you have merchandise, not just to make money. But at the end of the day, it just takes way too much time to not make money.
I was crestfallen. I tried to I hit my 1 year and I did a limited store thing through Apparel Lab.
Okay.
And I don't know.
How did it go?
I mean, I probably sold, I think I made $160.
Okay.
But it's also it also just as a reminder, sometimes I don't need any more reminders that it takes a while to build something.
I get it.
And it's like this deflating moment.
Sure.
We're like, oh man.
You hope something works.
I remember, I kid you not, I was on the I run the Bradford Creek Trail.
I'm actually impressed you made $160, to be honest.
I mean, because they have a great business model, and I'm not going to go into because that's their secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
But I was running on the Bradford Creek Trail. I was telling you about interviewing Ricky.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I thought, I'm going to release this episode, and I'm going to have 1,500 subscribers like that. Well, here I am, 71 episodes later, which are each about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, I've got 150 hours of content, plus all the clips and all the time you put into it, and I've got 120 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
Just takes time.
And you're like, just buy a damn t-shirt.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's a lot of people who, and like you said, you can never lose sight of the quality, right? You just have to keep delivering consistent, if not consistent, but better.
Yeah.
Time after time. Because at some point, someone is going to stumble upon it.
Sure.
And you don't want to give them any reason to not check it out, And
I think for you too, you do have a local audience. So in relative terms, your audience will always be somewhat smaller than most podcasts because you reach, but if you can have authority in the podcast world of that whole audience, there you go.
Let's show your branding.
Okay. Let's go.
So this is your website. Now, a couple questions. Is it serve my memory? Is it Jackie Gill? Is she the one who did
She did my branding, my colors, and my logo.
Okay, so nothing's really changed from what we're looking at as far as your logo at the top. All things Madison. That's the same.
And the colors.
But
I have a whole new website as of this month.
Oh, it's coming out later?
This is my new website.
Oh, this is your new website. Yep. Okay. So I like the clock.
I just paid a lot of money for it.
Did you?
A lot.
I bet.
Many thousands of dollars.
And is it mine has to be very dynamic.
Yeah.
Because as I put episodes up through YouTube or Spotify, well then the website sucks everything from those RSS feeds and everything. So I just told whoever look, I need it to be dynamic so that when
Yeah.
I'm uploading things, I don't have to babysit it. And it
Yeah.
breaks from time to time, and I have to go in to like WordPress, and I have to like hit a couple buttons.
Yeah.
But I also know that if I do too much, then I absolutely break it. And then
Yeah.
I've got to call the guy and say, I totally messed this up. I
Yeah.
need you to turn
Did
this
a
around.
local guy build
So-
your website?
No, I did a crowdsource on it.
Okay.
And I would have, but I had only been here like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I just had this desire, like
Right.
I need to get this going.
Get it going.
And I'm going to change my logo, and it's only because I have a rebrand of things that I want to do that just kind of touch upon what you were saying
Okay.
as far as the audience and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know anybody at the time. Now I've interviewed all these marketing people and these
That's so
website
true.
people, and I could have done it. But do you want to walk us through your new website and kind of highlight anything that's like you would really, really want to make sure people pay attention to?
Yeah. I mean, I get emails constantly from people that want to advertise. So I try to make that button up there in the top
advertise
left.
with us?
Yep.
Okay.
Love the weather up there. Just shows, hey, here is
Yep.
currently what's up. There's all the categories. I like how we have our logo that is split around the categories. Social
Mhm.
media icons are very, very clear. And then we scroll to the website where I have my most recent articles.
So what is the date on this, or do you remember when you released?
That would have been beginning of May, maybe.
Okay.
No,
April.
that's beginning of April.
Okay, I'll go back.
So
artificial turf.
yeah,
which is great.
epoxy, the Fit 5 meal, state of the market. So, and then you have older posts.
I like just real quick from a design standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I like how we go. You alter the shape, the size of the rectangle.
They killed it. They did so great.
Who built it for you? Do you mind
It's
telling?
called Oh no, not at all. They're called Meister. It's a team right here in
Meister?
Huntsville.
Okay.
They're incredible. They're a marketing team and they are so brilliant. And then you go down to Explore Madison, which, I mean, that's obviously a massive arm of what we do now. So we have an easy button that takes you to our allthingsmadisonmerchandise.com, which is our Shopify site.
Mm-hmm.
Our email newsletter is also a massive bread and butter of what we do.
I receive it, by the way.
Great. Thanks for signing up. Let me know if you ever have any constructive criticism. Again, because it's not about what I like. It's about what other people like. But I do have over 50% open rate on that consistently week after week, which tells me don't you touch a thing because, I mean, in the marketing world, they say if you have 18 to 20% that you're strong. So it's like, man, let's just keep pumping things out that are bite-sized, helpful, entertaining. You click, you're done. And you know what? Try to be consistent. That's just something we really tried to do. So we have that. And
and it's pretty simple, just Facebook or Instagram. That's it. You've simplified where you
I
can
don't
be
want
found.
to simplify.
Really?
I want to be on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, all the thing, YouTube. However, I cannot do all of those well.
Mm-hmm.
So until I can hire another team member to help me do those well, we won't have much of a presence.
Yeah. I'm going through the same thing. I
bet.
So I've had like a Gmail account when we talk about since the beginning, since it was beta. And then, I've had a Facebook account at some point. And I used to think Facebook was really easy to use. I thought it was really intuitive. And of course, this is way before ads, and this is just Facebook, like, early days. And then, and of course, I used to work in the top secret world, so there was no phones that came into your desk, right?
Yeah.
It stayed in the car. And so for 20 years of my life, I didn't really have an online persona, and I also wasn't using a phone and iPads and stuff like the people that normal people use, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like not only a late adopter and I'm older, but it's a struggle in a way.
Sure.
Because I didn't really grow up with that. And so somewhere along the way, like Facebook just like kind of changed.
Yeah.
So my preference, LinkedIn, I think is the easiest. Instagram second, and then Facebook. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't think the algorithm does well for me. Instagram seems to be doing pretty good, and LinkedIn, and I almost want to just like isolate to those two.
Sure.
But then there's still plenty of businesses and people who only use Facebook. So you're not going to reach them. But I really like LinkedIn. But I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
And at one point I was trying to do TikTok, or I was trying to use this site called Hootsuite.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Where you send out, but it's impossible because every handle And the way they do hashtags are different because
Yes.
and I didn't even realize my stuff's going to Twitter apparently, but like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care because Twitter to me is like way too much volume.
It's a lot.
There's way too much going on. So,
but there's
I'm
some
with you.
people there. That's why it's
I know.
hard. It's like, but there is an audience. So I get it. You have to just pick what works for you and then do those well.
Well, and I mentioned at the beginning when we were talking about like when I was crestfallen when maybe I didn't mention this. So this guy walks up to me and I thought he was aware of the podcast. Like whether they watch it or not, because these are people I see at certain events fairly regularly. And he was like, I didn't know you had a podcast. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, again, it's like that
deflating.
It's that deflating moment where you're like, I thought of all the people and you fit the demographic that you would have been aware. Or we all hang out with the same people. So clearly they're not talking about my podcast around you.
Got it.
And I'm like, okay, well, here's my card,
Sure.
Check out the show sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's so right now I know you got some big things happening with like gift cards. Can you talk through that? And that whole concept and how it's going? And
it's going swimmingly. It's been the best thing ever. I think long story short, we were looking for a way to get businesses foot traffic. All Things Madison is not for exposure. What we try to do is help a business make money because you have to have money to keep going. Everybody could hear about your store, but if they are not going, you don't survive. So I've had the idea for some type of subscription service since the end of 2020. And then it really took hiring my team member, Lauren, to pull it together. And it is very hard. It is very complicated, even though it seems very simple on the receiving end. The behind the scenes is not easy, but we love it. And we think we have a really good product because of how we look at we dot every I, cross every T, so that it is something great, which will lead to longevity. Very simple. The start of every quarter, you pay $30 one time on allthingsmadisonmerchandise.com, and then you get an envelope with 3 gift cards to Madison businesses over the next 3 months. So it's funny to hear like people say, I race my husband to the mailbox, the 1st through the 5th of every month because we want to see what the businesses are going to be. There's that experiential thing, which is fun. It's also not a coupon card. It has no strings attached. It is a gift card. You want to spend $9? Go spend $9 on your gift card. The majority of people are going to spend over $10, so it will put some money back in the business's pockets, but they're on board with doing it because A, it gets them the foot traffic. B, people are likely going to spend above and beyond by choice. And then C, they're going to tell their family and friends. D, they're coming back.
Yeah.
And we do complimentary ads for them, because we want to showcase for people who have received those cards, here's how you can go utilize that restaurant or that business or that clothing store. So
just real quick, the imagery in my mind when they think of like people running to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Stitch Fix?
Oh, my fix shipped today. Yeah. I've been a customer for 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing like, ooh, I wonder what's going to be in the box. Now, I've never subscribed to it. I probably could have used to because I used to dress up every day.
Yeah.
For work, and now I don't really have to. So I've like my mind has like shifted away from that. But I kind of feel like anytime you can, because we still love the mailbox. Yes. It doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter like the technological generation we live in. I think there's still something there. If you get something in the mail or a package. Yeah. Right. A package shows up.
Well, people have said, why don't you just ship all 9 gift cards at once? Well, obviously that'd be great because we would have to pay for shipping one time. Because our expenses with this are hefty. We did not quite know, but we are happy to do it.
And Lauren's
she's my director of operations.
Director of operations.
Yep. Okay. Basically, I do all the content, and literally she is directing every arm and leg and toe of everything else.
That's awesome.
And keeps my head on. But it would save us money, but it is so fun to receive something.
Yeah. So
we really care about experience, and it really comes back to the people. I mean, how cool that you live in Madison, Alabama, and we have something just for you. Like if we can aid your quality of life, like
sure.
What a win.
Going back to Joey. So I don't really want to dive into because I know
Carlucci.
No,
Oh.
Joey Cece.
Oh, Cece.
I love Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? And
Joe Carlucci. Joey Cece. Yeah.
We should also take this time to
profess our love for Joe Carlucci.
Him and Tori.
Tori
from
my girl,
from
WZYP.
ZYP. That's right. Tori at WZYP.
Tori, I love you. You're one of my best friends. And Evan, they're just our people.
That's right. Tori was at my guest episode number 6.
Yeah, I remember.
And then I interviewed Sam. Do you know who Sam I am?
Oh gosh, love Sam.
I interviewed her episode 43,
cool.
and she sang that Kid Rock and that duet.
Okay.
That's like her karaoke song.
Oh.
Who is it?
I need to go karaokeing with her.
It's really
Champy's.
She's good. She's a really good singer. I was like, you go, girl. Like she just started singing.
She just busted it out.
Yeah.
You don't want me to do that.
But I brought that up for a reason.
And
Joey. Oh, so I know your answer. If I was to say, hey, how do you handle criticism and all that? You're saying, listen, it's all about the why. No one's really, you kind of start with the end in mind and what you're doing. Backwards map. And there's going to be those people that just, okay, they don't get it. But by and large, you don't get that much negative feedback. I don't get any feedback. And if I do, there's only been one time it was negative feedback. And all I did was reply and say, thank you for your opinion.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for your opinion.
Have a great day.
However, the thing that I was talking to with Joey about,
okay,
now that the soccer field has been, Joe Davis Stadium has been revitalized,
right,
and the soccer team is there, and
it's
that's
beautiful.
Awesome. But somewhere along the way, someone was like, well, I'm just so glad that South Huntsville has something. Uh-oh. That was weird. Wait. Did that just turn black, or is that me? They said, just so glad that South Huntsville has something. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's going to be, I wonder if there's going to be impact on Toyota Field, and it kind of, or Huntsville versus Madison, type stuff. Whether it comes in the form of feedback, but I also know, let me also set up this point to keep things simple. And we just talked about social media being an example of, hey, for right now, you're going to do Facebook and Instagram, and that's it. So when it comes to all things Madison, you're not trying to be all things Huntsville, because it's going to be far easier for you to manage your business if you only have to drive 5 miles.
You got it.
To anywhere, 5 square miles or 10 square miles. That's it. You're limiting your reach and your scope. And of course, we're in a hot area because it's going to keep expanding. Do you get some, what about Huntsville? So what about Huntsville? How come we don't have an all things Huntsville? Hey, I would say you got the green light. Go start that on your own, right? And Erica Despain has given you the business model for being successful.
Yeah.
Does that come over in any way in some of the negative feedback and or just concerns or the like?
I couldn't count on my fingers and toes how many people have asked me to please do what I do in other places, and not just here locally. I mean, all over the country.
Wow.
I mean, people, they see it and they see that it's useful and they wish they had it and they want me to do it, but I cannot do it because I don't know your city, care about your city, understand. I cannot do it authentically. I can go cover the restaurant. That doesn't mean I can speak. I can speak about anything off the cusp. I have an answer for almost everything because I have truly educated myself on what's up, and can speak about Madison Square Mall and Bob Jones being built. I remember them putting the letters on the school.
Yeah.
I can't speak about Grissom.
Yeah.
So what people have said, though, is, hey, I have another location in Huntsville. Can you please cover it? Or who do you recommend to cover it? And the thing is, there are other online presences that are doing media and forms of advertising, but everyone has a different model. So you've got to look at their work and see if it works for you. Because for me, there are some businesses that will never probably reach out to me because they maybe aren't interested in my model of advertising. So if I'm your cup of tea, great.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, I can't I don't think I could replicate what I do in Huntsville. And that's just no fault of Huntsville's.
And that's probably just sour grapes if that does happen.
It's not criticism. It's more like we just wish that we had that.
Yeah. Now, with Lauren being on board, so did the idea of the gift cards and stuff come before you hired her?
It started end of 2020.
Okay. Oh, it did. So it's been going on. And I'm sorry, I'm ignorant. I
Oh,
feel
no.
bad now. I should know.
Oh, no, you
But I
shouldn't know.
don't.
No, no one's really ever asked me. I mean, it was one of those things. There's just only so much you can do on your own.
Yeah.
And also, when you work on your own, you're limited to your own thinking, your own ideas. And I knew I had to invest in someone who could help bring new ideas to the table that I had no idea about.
Yeah.
So Lauren and I's skill sets are very different, but we have similar interests. So you combine what she's good at and what I'm good at, and we're able to do the things we're doing.
Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Did you, in your mind, do you think in movies at all? Like,
Did I what?
Do you think like in like scenes in movies at all? Like, how's it relates to your life?
No, I don't watch movies.
Okay.
I fall asleep.
Before you got Lauren,
Okay.
was there a period of time where you're just kind of feeling like overwhelmed? You know what you want to accomplish, but you just can't get there because, you're also a mother, 3 children. You try to end your day at 3:00.
Yeah.
For them, and you might look at email, but you're not going to start writing emails till 8:00 in the morning.
Sure.
The next day, right? Yeah. So, you're just kind of, you feel like you're on this island and you're stuck and you can't get off. So therefore, this is what happened to me. So Castaway is this movie.
I love Castaway.
Okay.
I've seen Castaway.
Do you remember when he's
Wilson.
just stuck, right? And he's charting how long he's been there.
Right.
And then one day he hears something, and that side of the porta potty washes up, and that becomes his sail. And he's able to build the boat and get off the island. So
I need to go watch that movie now.
Now that's like when I was doing my live streaming company originally, I had this, and I could show you, I can't cue it up now. I could show you afterwards, but I built my own press box that was on the field, because then I could sell advertising on it.
Sure.
They weren't going to let me sell advertising on their press box.
Okay.
Because you've got boosters that put their advertising and their sponsors that have their banners where, but the only way I was going to make money, and I had a very expensive production to pull this off. And I got to a point where I was stuck because I knew that I couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
And it was probably 5 times more complicated than what I have in this room.
Yeah.
With a statistician and a color commentator and 4 cameras and instant replay and on, right? Just for a high school game. But I also wanted to do it to show that I could do it.
Yeah.
And to show people what you can actually do with just a little bit of ingenuity and efficiency, right? So this intern, I remember I was leaving this game, and it would take me 12 hours to set up the box on a Friday.
Okay.
I would take off every other Friday for these home games, and it would take me all day to run this cable, and I'm sweating
every other week.
Unless I had some help, but nobody really wanted to help me. Anyway, I'm going home from this game, and I'm just tired. It's 11:00 at night, and I'm it's just providing any value to anybody. Am I ever going to make any money? And I get this email from this kid. He's like, dude, I really love to help you out. I just stumbled upon your recordings. It looks really awesome.
Yeah.
And he becomes like that sail. He gets me off the island, and then boom, just with him, then I was able to start doing more games.
Wow.
Because now he wanted to do broadcasting, but he also understood the technical side.
Right.
And then he became my producer. We actually did instant replay because now he's producing it, right?
Wow.
And it just took us to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Which
is so gratifying.
And that must have awesome to get Lauren on board. And that can be trial and error. Anytime you're hiring people,
it was so terrifying.
That's not easy. How many applicants did you consider?
I had 32 applicants.
Did you really?
And I interviewed probably 8. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt good about it. I was terrified. I thank Lauren every single day for hanging on with me and helping me learn how to be a boss. It's very different to be a leader versus a manager of real adults.
Sure.
Lauren's 42-year-old, self-sufficient woman. She's no kid, and she deserves to have a great place of employment.
Yeah.
With predictability and all the things. And I want to make sure that I rise to the occasion for her, because she could go do anything.
And good for you to go through kind of that objective process where you're interviewing people and you get to make the decision, right?
Mhm.
You narrow down 32 applicants to 8 interviews, and then ultimately you choose between 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Have them back for another interview.
Right.
But versus you someone's friend and you know them, but you realize very quickly you don't know them.
That's right.
And it goes sour and you're not sure how to break things up because it's going to have this long-term effect on friendships and all that, right?
Yeah, we have a firm rule in our home, my husband and I, we will not do business or anything financial with family or friends. We will not buy a property with, this is just the Despains, We are very relational people and love our family and friends. I mean, like, people are the most important thing to us. And we just don't.
Keep it that way.
We don't want, it works for people. It works for people to go in on investments and business together. It is not something we ever want to do.
Yeah.
We want to keep our relationships, and finances.
Good for you.
So,
I was going to ask a question about that, but let's switch gears. I want to go through a picture pack. With you.
Okay.
Again, these are pictures I took from your Instagram. You got time? Are you good?
I'm good. We're good. I'm excited.
And basically, it's just for you to give commentary.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I'm going to skip that one because that one's no longer applicable. And this one's going to make you laugh, I think, right away when you see it. So let's switch to this view, and then boom.
Oh, gracious. Me and Kayla.
So you're
Karabeth,
you're pregnant with your third?
That's my third, yeah.
Okay. And who is she?
She's a girl I go to church with. Our babies were born 2 days apart. So this was our last day at church for both of us. We figured
2 days apart.
And now these babies are almost 4. So
that's so cool.
It is so cool.
Now, and your kids' names again are, one of them's Hadley.
Yeah.
And
Sadie is 7 and Jillian's almost 4.
Okay. So it's Sadie's the oldest.
Hadley and then Sadie.
Hadley, Sadie,
Jillian.
And Jillian. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
We're going to go there. So this cracked me up reading the caption on this. And here's what's great about Erica. Like, you're not just going to come across a picture with a few words. It's going to be a picture with a lot of words, which is great. So obviously she's darling. Mm-hmm. But so tell us the story behind getting this medal.
I think I made some people frustrated that day because I'm not competitive with other people. Cross my heart, I am not competitive with other people, but I am with myself.
Okay.
If I have the opportunity to do something and I could do it, I'm going to do it. So I signed up for this games. It's like CrossFit Games or something. Yeah. And they told you what you were going to have to do ahead of time. I never read it. I walked in that morning.
Was this at Burn Boot Camp?
This at Burn Boot Camp. I was like, so what do we have to do when we go compete? And people looked at me. I mean, like, I think they were almost insulted that, like, we've been training for this for weeks and you don't even know what the protocol is. And I laughed. I'm like, y'all, we train every morning. We get our butts kicked every morning. Also, I'm not here to win. Like, I'm here to kind of work out and do something stupid. Well, because I am too competitive for my own good, with myself, I freaking busted my tail, and I won.
What was the rotation of events?
It was 3 or 4 different events where basically you die for 15 minutes each.
Okay.
You die for 15 minutes
and
each.
You won.
And I won. For women, in the intermediate, not advanced. I can't do 15 push-ups in a row on my toes, but I can do a few. But by the 3rd and 4th round, I had to have my husband come back and I basically told him, like, you will not be more than 10 feet away. I need you to scream and tell me I can keep going because I will actually want to die.
Did you, were you like extra fatigued or achy afterwards? Like,
I had a big margarita.
Did you?
Yeah. And chips and queso and yeah, it was fun. And it was so cool for my girls to get me to see me do that. Yeah. I mean, who knows what kind of impact that has? Probably nothing because they know mom's just a big dummy.
It's like couch to 5K, right? So it's like couch to medal. Now, but like you said though, but you're working out.
Yeah, right. It was. I think it was something fun as an adult at 35 years old. How often do you just get to do something different?
Yeah.
But you know what? You have to seek that out yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I felt on top of the world, but I sought it out for myself. Nobody else handed me that opportunity. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? You want to go do something? Go freaking do it. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody's going to hand you that opportunity.
No.
You just have to do it. That's what I have to say about that.
This was a great little letter that one of your children wrote. Can you remind us who it was and help us understand and like the wording? I've read it through, but maybe you're used to looking at it.
This is my sweet Sadie girl, and she's my middle, and she is this is kindergarten.
Okay.
So obviously the spelling is off. She is just my lover. She's just my kid that is most similar to me in that she really loves people and cares about people. And I love to see her little heart come through in something like that.
I love that. Give a card to someone by smiling at someone, by letting someone play with you, sharing your toys with your friends, by
giving a compliment.
A compliment. That's a tough word.
Yeah. Reading a book to someone, giving someone money. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Relatable for even adults, right?
You know, you mentioned earlier, like writing a book. I wrote a book like in 5th grade, but I also still have. Yeah, like I think it was
a silly one. Like
no, it was supposed to be. It was the Water War.
Oh.
And I had this idea that it was going to be this long book, and then I realized it takes a long time to like put down all of the descriptors. So I think the first chapter was like excellent, and then I was like, I can't. I'm so tired.
I'm done.
And I just made it end.
Yeah.
But I go back to when I look at the handwriting. Like her bees look alike, like what I did in that paper when I did in kindergarten and 1st grade, and I still have a box of memories.
Really?
And I have a lot of stuff where I'm like, man, I had beautiful handwriting.
Yeah.
Now I didn't spell everything right,
but I tried.
But I tried really hard to handwrite.
Yeah.
Now here's your girls.
Oh, the loves of my life.
There they are. So again, it's Sadie.
So Hadley's the oldest.
Okay, Hadley, then Sadie, then Jillian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got it now. Okay.
There's a lot of.
And there's your parents.
Yeah.
And I think you look more like your mom.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we still get that everywhere we go.
And they're here local?
They do live, 5 miles from me.
They never moved. Okay.
Not after they left New York.
Okay. And he works on the Arsenal or did? Is he retired?
He works for NASA.
He does?
He's an engineer for NASA.
Okay.
Marshall Space Flight
We got a lot
Center.
of those people running around here.
Yep, one of them.
Did he work on Artemis?
He did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge
that was
program.
a really big thing.
All right, so this next one really interests me because it's at Pebble Beach. So did you all get to play? I guess you got to play. You got to pay the $500 and $600 a round.
You know, there's some pictures that just make your heart so happy. This is one of them. This was my husband's second day of playing golf ever in his life.
Oh my goodness.
And he was playing at Pebble Beach Golf Course.
Oh my gosh.
Second
I knew there was a story.
day of golf ever.
Oh.
These are our very best friends, Ryan and Aaron Brown. Aaron is the North Alabama's best vet, actually. She is the best. But we had the opportunity with our pastors. We're really involved in our church here in town. So we had the opportunity to travel with them to a fundraiser event of sorts with an organization called Project Rescue, which is a global organization that helps rescue and then rehab women and children from sex trafficking.
Okay.
Incredibly powerful stuff
Sure.
that my husband's really passionate about. So October 21, we travel with them, and part of it was you got to play Pebble Beach.
Wow.
So we rode in the cart until we got too cold, and then my friend and I sat in a sauna and drank mimosas and had the best day of our life.
He must have had a really long round. That's a tough course for your second round ever.
He had someone tell him, hey, you're supposed to be quiet on a golf course. Like
He was cussing.
No, he just was talking nonstop when someone's about to hit the ball.
Oh, just the protocol.
It's like, when you play golf, you're supposed to be quiet when someone hits a ball.
Yeah.
But it's like now, since he has beautiful clubs, he's a very good golfer.
Okay.
He is addicted.
Okay. That's a great story.
Ugh. Oh,
Now
my dad's 60th birthday at Valentina's.
At Valentina's. Those walls are unmistakable. Like, it's Valentina's.
Identifiable. You're right. It's very smart, actually. Yeah. So my dad's a big pizza critic.
Is he?
Because of New York.
What does he think about Valentina's?
He didn't love it at first, but now he loves it. He's not much of a craft pizza person, though.
Really?
He just wants a slice of greasy cheese pizza.
I told Joe, not till I've had Valentina's pizza, and I've had New York style pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lots of pizza.
Yeah.
but like I'll eat it and the crust is so remarkable.
Yes.
Where I'm like, wow.
It's literally perfect.
And then I'm getting into like the hot honey, and I like to dip it in the hot honey.
You know they charge for that now though?
They do, they?
Our receipt had $1 charge for each cup of hot honey. We were like, oh, it's because it's getting out there.
Bring your own honey.
People are figuring out the hot honey is like.
Well, you do need to, next time you go, you got to order the Our Town.
I will.
Because there's this, I created a special menu, so it should be a menu insert. And then there's QR codes on the back.
Okay.
There's one QR code goes to him announcing, it's just a clip of him announcing that the award-winning pizza.
Okay.
After the Our Town podcast.
That's so cool.
And then the other is just the full episode.
I haven't seen that.
And you guys, I am definitely one of those jealous social media people when you travel abroad. But hey, you do it. You work hard and you do it.
Yeah, don't be jealous if you knew the price tag.
Well, and this is actually in a place that I'm not even sure existed. What's it called again?
Exuma.
Where is that?
It is a tiny little island an hour south of Miami.
That's it?
That's it. Exuma, Bahamas. And it is truly the, I forget going to Bora Bora. Like, go to Exuma.
So it's like just east of the Keys. Like
it's just south of Nassau. It's maybe 45 minutes from Miami.
Really?
Super close. It's just a small, tiny little poor island.
Wow.
That is expensive to fly to. So we drove to Atlanta so that we could have those direct flights. I mean, the flights were still $500 a piece, but better than Huntsville. We work hard and play hard.
Yeah.
And
you have that once a year goal, right?
Once a
You're
year.
going to do it with just your family.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. It's always pricey, but it's things that we never regret doing. And I think there's something about our time in the military that we feel really rich in experiences, and we can speak to a lot of things because we've seen with our own eyes.
Yeah.
We just really want our kids to, like, I want my kids to want to travel. So I'm like, well, I better pay for their butt to be on a plane.
Because you were stationed in Texas, Tennessee,
Arizona, and Kansas.
Okay.
But we've been everywhere.
But you got to go on trips.
Oh,
different
gosh,
TDYs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been to Germany a few times and Switzerland, Austria.
That's all I had.
Yay.
That was the picture pack.
Okay.
Thanks for explaining that.
Thanks for asking.
Exuma.
Gosh.
There are so many little islands and countries out there.
So beautiful. Like, they're meant to be seen.
Yeah.
But But there's a sacrifice. We haven't bought new furniture in a really long time.
Oh, really?
No, we have no furniture money. We have no furniture money. Yeah. There's a lot of things that some people, like, you just have to pick your premium, right?
Yeah.
Like, where are you going to spend your money?
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, you can have furniture, and I guess functionally you need a bed to lie in and all that kind of stuff. But like, sometimes I even look at like artwork. I'm like, okay, you can spend all this money and we look at something.
Yeah.
Or you can spend money and experience something.
Yeah. Which depending on the personality, but you probably can't do both at the same time.
No.
And that's why people are a little judgmental about finances sometimes, because they spend their money differently. Right. And so
that's true.
It's they're like, how'd they do that? But
can we talk about one other thing that actually I have one update I want to follow up with you on, and then this is another kind of update.
Okay.
But when I was listening to you, it might have been shout out to the Alabama entrepreneur. I don't know if he still does this podcast.
Oh yeah. He's
might
not really
been
recording much anymore.
You were talking about how you were breaking the story of the zoo. And I didn't know that, but I interviewed Ethan.
Okay.
Episode 27, where we talk about the zoo and that kind of stuff. So are you still involved at all with them on when, the latest happenings?
I am not.
Okay.
They did ask me what level of involvement I wanted to have. And I didn't have much interest in moving forward as far as my personal investment, only because while we would be frequent attenders to the zoo, it's not something that I feel like I'm overly passionate about or that I can really speak to.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there's so many things you can volunteer with that you really have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, not much. I guess the land fell
No.
through and that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
they're still kind of working through that.
Yeah.
But so I was just curious.
Yeah.
I was like perked up when I hear like a little bit more of the history when you go further back on who knew what when and what was being publicized.
Let me tell you something so crazy about that story.
Sure.
So when I did that story, we met in this podunk land, and I'm not sure he really knew why I was there, but then he was really impressed afterwards. He was like, kind of a Tom Brown's thing, like, oh, this girl actually cares. Oh, she's not a dummy. Like, she's asking me hard questions, right? And then I wrote this story. And at the time, I knew that they had not shared any of it with anyone. So it was almost a little aggravating that there were a lot of online publications that were literally just copying, pasting my article and like having this viral content with no acknowledgement to all things Madison. Not that I need everyone to be like, oh, look at her, but also I have just spent 20 hours getting this interview, going out there, walking the property for 2 hours, working on, and then you just, so that's always a little, but it's a risk you take with online publication. But I was not at the time allowed to share where the location was.
Yeah.
So people were able to take my pictures from the article and do this back tracing. And they knew exactly where the picture was taken from. I thought that was so impressive. I was like, oh, good for y'all. I mean, great. I love that people are that invested in my article.
That's actually how they also, not exactly that, but similarly, they found a bunch of the secret CIA sites we have, like in the Afghanistan mountains, because the soldiers were running with their Fitbits on and their, their GPS watches. Oh, and then that stuff gets uploaded. And so then you come across it and you see all of these workouts, right? These loops that they're running. And that's the only data that's really emanating from
I can see it.
Yeah. Like, whoops, just things you don't think about.
You don't think about.
Like, oh, I'm going to run. Like, don't do that. Don't take your watch.
Just a Fitbit, right.
Or don't have your watch at all.
Interesting.
Okay. So I'm always interested in how and luckily this wasn't a tragedy.
Yeah.
But little Hadley, right? You wrote about this.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of what happened after.
Yeah.
The response to it. So you guys are visiting Jamie's parents in Austin. And I guess it was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And she just falls into the pool.
She took her puddle jumper off.
Right.
Yep.
And
we took it off her. We took it off. Yeah.
That's and actually I guess there was a death by drowning over in Montesano.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A little girl.
Recently?
Yeah. And actually, Ethan knows that family. Probably 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
And it was probably in it might have been actually, I guess it was towards the fall of last year. Okay. Yeah, towards the end of summer. So, gosh, time flies.
Yeah.
Time really flies by.
Yeah.
But so we all have that fear as parents when our little ones and who's watching her.
Yeah.
So can you just really quickly walk back through that day?
Yeah.
And kind of what happened. And then, but the most importantly is what's happened since. And then the program that you certainly, I think, became champions of.
Oh, yeah.
And helping little infants to
swim.
It's even young as 6 months old. Can you walk through that?
Yeah. I can talk about it now 7 years later without crying, which is impressive. Because I definitely have PTSD from it. But I will share it with anyone that will listen because it's so important, right? And that's how you use bad things, not in vain. So yeah, long story short, we're in the pool. We take a puddle jumper off. We're all going inside to barbecue. We were driving home the next day to Kansas. And we were in the pool talking about investments because we were getting out of the military in less than 2 years. So we were picking my in-laws' brain about finances and all these things. And my father-in-law was out of the pool holding our 4-month-old Sadie. And the three of us were in the pool, my mother-in-law, me, and my husband. And they had like a hot tub area that was raised that like float, like one of those really bougie pools that like flows into the pool. And we had taken her puddle jumper off so she could eat a cookie. Well, at 2.5 years old, she doesn't understand that if I go in the water, it's only because my puddle jumper, because we were letting her go in the water and she can swim by herself. And so she went up on that thing, and because we were lower, we couldn't see the raised hot tub, and my father-in-law was facing us. So all of a sudden, I don't even remember who saw her, but it was bad. I mean, I thought she had passed. because she was unresponsive to CPR. So I think that's the feeling that is like leads to weird trauma, because you're like, oh, that's a part of your brain that like, I didn't know pain like that exists, and thank God I only quote felt it for a minute. I can't even fathom now what that would feel like, to realize that it is true. And then she coughed. So we realized that she was alive. Went to the hospital.
Jamie was administering CPR.
He was
right?
administering CPR, and I knew he was breaking her ribs, and it was so bad. And he didn't. The doctors, my husband did not cry until the doctors walked in and said, you saved her life and you did whatever you did flawlessly. And it was just like, I told him, I was like, you'll never be in trouble again. And he's like, yeah, how'd that go? And so anyway, yeah, so they did all the brain assessments for, 12 hours, because they assumed, it doesn't take long for there to start being a level of brain damage. And, but we think she was just probably seconds away from having some type of brain damage, but we were released 24 hours later, and then got involved. I shared my story on the blog because writing's my therapy.
Yeah.
And just it connected me with the right people, enrolled the girls in the infant swim rescue program here when we moved here. And my girls are really strong swimmers, super strong swimmers. And I think what I learned from that situation is it's like a car accident. If you can see it coming, you slam on your brakes, you go around the car. But if you don't see it coming, there's really not a whole lot you can do. And unfortunately, it's just not uncommon.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sad, scary part. So we're just the really unfun friends that are always in the water with our 3-year-old. We don't really do the puddle jumper thing much.
Yeah.
Just gives them a false sense of security.
So fortunately, I guess for Hadley, she has no recollection.
She has no recollection, but she's very aware of it.
Yeah.
Only because it comes up in conversation all the time.
Does it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's just a huge part of who we are and how we parent.
Yeah.
And it changed our lives.
Now, did Jamie ever comment that in his training, like somewhat you hear things like babies are somewhat very like tough, or their bones haven't fully formed and their head hasn't fully formed. So they're actually tougher than you think, they could sustain a fall. And like, did he have some training to know that, okay, you're doing CPR and you're doing it on a young one? Like
he didn't.
Okay.
No, he didn't. He just knew exactly where to press and what to do. And as soon as she coughed, he threw her to me so that he could receive the paramedics. And,
yeah,
it was wild.
And this is just a question of curiosity on how these things play out. But
yeah.
Was there any part of that trip where he was not supposed to go and not be there for that weekend?
No, because it was his parents. So It was unfortunately our first visit to their new home. So that was hard because it really put a damper on their home. We did go back and visit one time about a year later, but that was not a good visit. It's just not any, when you have, and I say PTSD because I'm very serious. Like there's just things when you experience certain traumas, anyone that has understands, like there's just, if I read a story about a drowning, I'm okay. But my body is not. Like I have a weird thing. And so I don't think I really would want to see that pool again.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's like, my body knows.
I just think of, you hear stories like this and there's typically, well, thank goodness somebody that was CPR trained was there.
Yes.
It happens to be your
Praise
father.
the Lord. Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll hear someone say, well, Jamie wasn't really supposed to be there, but circumstances were, and then he was there and it ends up like saving the kid's life. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But thank goodness, right? Like even if I have been trained and I've taken a class. Yeah. I'm still, and I have never had to administer it. Yeah. But if I know in that moment, I'll be like, well, I hope.
Let's hope we're doing things right.
I hope I'm doing it right. Yeah. I'm going to do the best I can.
CPR, my mom had to administer CPR a month ago on her neighbor that had a heart attack on his front lawn.
Really?
And she's in the medical field. So like,
But it's your neighbor.
It was her neighbor. Yeah. But you're never going to know you need CPR.
Sure.
So I need to get recertified. I haven't been certified in 4 years.
Now your kids went into the program though.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It is it's like throw the baby in the pool. Like teach this baby to swim. People are like, but they're crying, but they don't like it. Your child needs to learn skills. Mm-hmm. They're not being traumatized. It is okay if they're uncomfortable. They're learning how to swim.
Yeah.
And when kids know how to swim and are strong swimmers, the pool is more fun.
Yeah.
For everyone involved. So I just have never, people say, oh, I don't like that program. It makes them cry.
And they usually kind of like somehow they flip over in that process, or
they learn to get on their backs.
Okay.
From infancy. So they learn how to flip over. And because when you're a kid that doesn't know how to swim, you don't know that the goal is air. You just know that something's happening. Mm-hmm. So I've allowed some people, I'm like, if you'll allow me 5 seconds, can I please show you something your child is doing? You take a 2-year-old and you let them go. And all they start doing is looking side to side, because the 2-year-old has no idea that I'm in pain and I have to get to air. They don't know that's the objective. So then they drown.
Right.
So if you can teach a child that when you feel that I can't breathe feeling, you need to get on your back. And then the goal is that they float and then they get back on their stomach and swim. And then they get back on their back so that even if they're 100 feet from a boat, they can do that countless times.
Gotcha.
Until they get to a wall or to a boat. It's awesome. Just phenomenal.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And do all the local pools
No, nobody offers it. It's terrible. If you want a good career that will pay you bank and that actually makes a difference in this world, go be an ISR instructor.
Well, I've seen in strip malls, I've seen these businesses where it's just a pool.
Right.
Where I think it's just for infants or really small kids to learn how to swim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like right next to Great Clips, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, our 3-year-old is in a program right now because our ISR instructor, they just bought a business, so she's not doing it anymore.
Gotcha.
So she's kind of just trying to do some refresher stuff at a normal swim place, but
yeah,
I'm a little tough on him. I'm like, can you just throw her in? I mean, can we just teach her to swim? Come on. I'm not here for funsies. Like, I need that baby to jump in the pool.
Yeah, good for you.
So
today,
yes,
let's you're gonna probably leave here soon. We're gonna close up.
Okay.
What's on your docket today? What's the day look like for Erica?
I am going.
By the way, today is Flag Day, June 14th.
Flag Day,
and it looks like it's no longer rainy outside.
Well, I think we're gonna get severe weather tonight. I have a very full inbox that I'm gonna go tackle. I have 5 pieces of content that are due in the next 3 days. So I'm going to work on those.
Yeah.
And then I have some things going on with Tirame Salon. So I'm going to run over there, do some things. And then I'm going to a party at a senior center.
Oh, cool.
Because someone had heard that if they want to get the word out, they should contact me. And they're having a big party. And I just want to go put my eyeballs on it. Because here's the thing. I might not be on board with what they do.
Yeah.
If I'm not on board with what you do, I'm not telling anybody about it. Right. So I'm going to go to your party, see what you got going on. And then if you ever come to me and want to advertise, at least I can say yay or nay.
Yeah. Good for you.
So we're going to go party and have some wine.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time out of your grind, because I know that this will set you back a little bit.
I love it. Wait, what's on tap for your day as a podcaster? What does the rest of your day look like?
Well, so this has been a big week. The FBI's in town. Well, I shouldn't say they're in town. People are in town from the industry that are chasing a lot of the FBI work.
Okay.
So yesterday was a big day, and last night was like kind of happy hour networking night. I was at the 106 Jefferson and Rhythm on Monroe. Mm-hmm. Today is more, I've got a couple meetings in the afternoon. My job is kind of market development, so it's just constantly.
You work from home?
No, I like to go into the office. Okay. I'm used to it. And there's a sense of like, that is like, I need to sometimes see growth, tangible growth. So we have about 15 interns this summer.
Wow.
And building out our space, because we moved into the Redstone Gateway, and my job is I'm in charge of growth, if you will, for the whole Huntsville market.
Yeah.
And yes, I could work from home, but I'm so used to seeing things grow within an office, if that makes sense. And so now, like, every desk was full yesterday. We had a couple people visiting from Virginia, one from New Jersey, and then we this back room that we had to buy tables and monitors so that some of the interns could go through a training, and then we have our conference room, at capacity. So it was like I kind of sometimes miss the buzz. Yeah. I used to manage like 163 people, right? And it was and there was government staff. So there's like 200 of us.
I've managed one person.
Yeah.
You managed 160.
Yeah, and it's like just that was a different world. I mean, it's just constant, right? You're constantly recruiting, you're constantly dealing with problems. But, like you get to a point like in the morning, sometimes like 8:15, 8:30, and like everyone's talking or the printers are going and like there's just activity. Yeah. And sometimes I kind of miss that.
Sure. I get that.
And so I'll vary. Like I'll spend some of my day at home and some of the day down at the office. And I enjoy, I was a commuter. Okay. So I enjoy listening to things in the car because sometimes I'll never listen to Tori.
That makes
ZYP.
Sense. Yeah.
I'm interviewing Mojo, by the way, next week.
Cool. That's awesome.
And so I kind of like having like 10 to 15 minutes in the car.
It's very good.
And then I'm recording a podcast tonight.
Nice. Okay. You're doing a lot of talking today.
Yeah. This is a national, I guess he lives in South Carolina. He's a former FBI agent and he wrote a book. Okay. And he's a gun guy, but he's also, I think we're going to talk a lot about active shooters. Ooh. There's a company in Coleman. Okay. And the guy, KT Technologies, I think. Okay. I just saw this in the Business Alabama magazine, and they have there's whiteboards. They look like whiteboards in a room, but if you just pull on the corner, it turns into a safe space for a classroom. Wow! And it's ballistic proof. You can't shoot through it. Wow! And you can have like 75 people go into this little space and be protected. It's sad that we're there, but he's saying he wants to be in at least 1 million classrooms in a year. Unbelievable. And it's this whole technology that he's invented, and so I think I'm going to talk to him about that. Cool. We'll definitely listen. And he broke down. He's an expert and stuff, so he broke down like the Nashville shooter, and just how like assessing. How does the school staff how did they do? How did the local people do, right? And stuff. So I think the police did good. Yeah, true. Yeah. Woof, man. I think, I'll be interested to listen to that one. Well, cool. Any final thoughts or shout outs? Oh, gosh. Well, hey, I'm just glad there's other people in the community like you who are promoting the community. I think a lot of what we do is spotlighting smaller businesses that maybe don't get the notoriety that they deserve, but they're doing incredible things. So, and at the end of the day, they're just people, just like you and I, that's right. Just people. And you put your pants on one leg at a time. That's right. And it's fun to spotlight them. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Oh, and thank you. Let me show the shirt. Oh, I love it. All things Madison. There we go. It's funny. I was just looking at your like merch shop or the different ones you had. And I'm like, so this is our year 3 shirt. So we'll have another color next April. I like that. I like the annual type thing. Yeah. Cool. Well, Erica Despain, thank you again. Have a great day. And I'm assuming we will catch up again in the future. Yes, for sure. All right. Thanks. Take care.